They say that history does not move in straight lines. It moves in cliffs. You walk along the edge of normalcy for years, thinking the ground is solid. And then, in the blink of an eye, the ground disappears. You fall, and when you land, the world looks completely different. Welcome to the story of 2025. If you are watching this, you survived the most chaotic, transformative, and exhausting year in modern American history. We started this year with questions, and we are ending it with scars. We witnessed the return of a king, the rise of the machines, the collapse of the old economic order, and the rewriting of the social contract. To understand where we are going in 2026, we have to deeply understand what just happened to us. This is not just a rewind. This is an autopsy of the year reality broke. Let's begin in Washington, D.C. Do you remember the atmosphere in January? The tension was thick enough to choke on. The inauguration of the Trump 2.0 administration wasn't just a change of guard, it was a regime change. The media called it retribution, the supporters called it restoration. But looking back now, we can see it for what it truly was, the Great Disruption. For decades, the American government operated on inertia. Bureaucracy was the unmovable object, but 2025 introduced the irresistible force. We saw the dismantling of the deep state in real time. We watched as the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and his circle of tech oligarchs, treated the federal government like a failing startup. They didn't use scalpels, they used sledgehammers. Thousands of career politicians and civil servants received their pink slips via email. Agencies that had existed for 50 years were merged or deleted overnight. The capital city, once the sleepy center of power, became a battleground of ideology. For half the country, this was the nightmare they had feared, an authoritarian consolidation of power. For the other half, it was the necessary surgery to save a dying patient. But regardless of your politics, the message was clear. The era of politics as usual is dead. The guardrails are gone. We are now driving off-road. But the political earthquake was just the background noise to the real shift. While we were arguing about executive orders and border walls, something much more fundamental was breaking in the American home. Let's talk about money. Or rather, let's talk about the illusion of money. If you look at the charts, 2025 was a miracle. The S&P 500 hit record highs, corporate profits soared, the GDP grew. On paper, America is richer than ever. So why does everyone feel so poor? Economists spent the entire year gaslighting Generation Z. They told us, the data says you are doing great. They pointed to the graphs, but you cannot eat a graph. You cannot live inside a stock market ticker. The reality on the ground was the Vibecession. It was the year of the $7 coffee and the $3,000 rent. We witnessed the final death of the middle-class dream. In 2025, we saw the rise of what I call the subscription life. You don't own your car, you lease it. You don't own your music, you stream it. You don't own your home, you rent it from a BlackRock subsidiary. We became a nation of tenants, paying rent to exist in our own country. And how did we cope? Did we save? Did we protest? No, we engaged in doom spending. This was the year the credit card bubble finally inflated to its bursting point. We saw a psychological shift in the youth. The logic went like this: if I can never afford a house, why should I save for one? I might as well buy the luxury bag. I might as well go on the trip. It was financial nihilism. We medicated our anxiety with consumption. We bought things we didn't need with money we didn't have to impress algorithms that don't care about us. And speaking of algorithms, we have to address the elephant in the room. The force that actually changed the economy more than any president ever could. In 2023, AI was a chatbot. In 2024, it was a tool. In 2025, AI became an agent. This was the year the screens started watching us back. We watched as white-collar work, the safe haven of the educated class, began to evaporate. Junior coders, copywriters, graphic designers, paralegals. We were told AI would come for the truck drivers first. We were wrong. It came for the creative class. The release of GPT-5 and the new autonomous agents shifted the paradigm. We saw the first one-person unicorns, companies worth $1 billion run by a single human and 1,000 AI agents. It sounds inspiring until you realize that you are not the human in that equation. You are the cost that was cut. And with this tech came the dead internet theory. Have you noticed it? The feeling that the internet feels empty? That the comments section feels repetitive? That the content feels soulless? In 2025, we crossed the threshold where more than 50% of internet traffic was bots talking to other bots. We are screaming into the void, and the void is auto-generating a reply. This technological isolation fed directly into the social crisis. We became more connected than ever, yet we have never been more alone. The loneliness epidemic that the Surgeon General warned us about isn't just a health crisis, it is a societal collapse. Men and women drifted further apart this year. The political gender gap became a canyon. Young men moved right, embracing the bro culture of Rogan and Musk. Young women moved left, embracing hyper-independence. The dating market didn't just crash, it froze. We're watching the formation of two separate societies living in the same country, unable to speak the same language. But while we were staring at our screens, the physical world was burning. We cannot talk about 2025 without looking at the map. The Pax Americana, the era of American peace, officially ended this year. The strategy of isolationism became the new doctrine. The U.S. pulled back. We saw the civilizational realism policy take effect. We told our allies, you are on your own, and the wolves came out to feed. In the Middle East, we saw the map being redrawn. The controversial plans for Gaza, the expansion of the conflict into Lebanon, and the silent Cold War with Iran reshaped the region. The Gaza Riviera plans we discussed on this channel went from conspiracy theory to leaked blueprints. In Europe, the fatigue set in. The war in Ukraine dragged into another bloody winter, but the checkbook from Washington closed. We watched as global powers like China and Russia cemented their own alliance, creating a bipolar world. The dollar is still king, but the throne is shaking. And then there was the weather. You can ignore politics, but you cannot ignore a hurricane. 2025 gave us billion-dollar disasters back to back. Insurance markets in Florida and California collapsed. We saw the beginning of climate migration within the U.S. borders. People aren't just moving for jobs anymore, they're moving for survival. They're running from the heat, running from the floods, and running from the insurance premiums. It feels overwhelming, doesn't it? Politics, economy, tech, war, climate. When you list it all out like this, it feels like the end of the world. It feels like we are living in the final chapter of a history book. But I want to offer you a different perspective. Chaos is a ladder. Destruction is also creation. Forest fires are terrifying, but they are also necessary. They clear out the dead wood. They allow sunlight to hit the forest floor. They allow new things to grow. 2025 was a forest fire. It burned down our illusions. It burned down our faith in the old way of doing things. We no longer can pretend that the government will save us. We can no longer pretend that a college degree guarantees a job. We no longer can pretend that the news is unbiased. The truth is terrifying, but it is also liberating, because now we can see the truth, and with truth comes power. We are seeing a new generation rise from the ashes of 2025. A generation that is resilient, a generation that is skeptical, a generation that is building their own systems because the old ones failed them. We are seeing independent media, like this channel, replace the corporate giants. We are seeing decentralized finance replace the predatory banks. We are seeing local communities form because the global ones felt too cold. The NextGen isn't just a name for our channel, it is a description of you. You are the ones who survived the algorithm. You are the ones navigating the AI revolution. You are the ones who will inherit this chaotic, beautiful, broken world. So, as we stand on the edge of 2026, do not be afraid. The ground has shifted, yes. The cliffs are steep, yes. But we are learning how to climb. This year, reality collapsed. Next year, we build a new one. Thank you for being part of NextGen USA in 2025. We have covered the wars, the elections, the memes, and the movements, but we are just getting started. If you made it to the end of this video, you were the core of this community. You are the ones who are paying attention. Comment 2026 below if you are ready for what comes next. Stay sharp, stay curious, and most importantly, stay human. I'll see you in the new year.